Camron Harris, Miami Curl City High School. I'm ready for Cam, man. Cam, listen, if there's somebody, I'm caping for Cam on the line. I'm saying he is going to be the leader on offense. I talked about this the last podcast, but he is showing examples of being a leader. On the field and off the field, his teammates are saying, his coaches are saying it. He's in the locker room. I think this is a kid that just genuinely loves football. And now he knows he has to step up. No DJ Dallas. There's been a report out there that Jalen Knighton is the most talented running back in our room. And I like Jalen Knighton. But I think this offense, when you look at who's going to step up as a leader, Camron Harris. It's got to be you, Gervin Hall. You know, when you say Gervin Hall, you look at his recruitment this year. Hey, Nick Saban came in there with the helicopter. We got Gervin Hall. He wants to wear the 2-6. This goes for both of our safeties. We've got to I'm going to cut them some slack because last year was their first year being full-time starters. Last year was their first year. You know, we were spoiled. Gervin Hall, Amari Carter, we were spoiled with Jaquan Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine. And before the season, people said, don't worry about the secondary because we're more athletic. But what we forgot about is Jaquan Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine, their intelligence, their chemistry. All that goes into making plays. And I'm hoping that this next year, Gervin Hall, Amari Carter, Bubba, that they're going to do better. They're going to be better at reacting because they got the defense down. Gilbert Frierson right now is our best striker. A lot of people, you know, we recruited him as a corner, got moved to striker. He's in line to start at striker. Some people think Keontre Smith can come in and take his spot. My thing is, can Keontre Smith cover? Listen, I think people think just because you're a striker, you're a linebacker, basically. No, you're going to have to cover. Ask Tutu Atwell. Ask the Gator kid from FAU. Ask Swan from Florida. They beat our corners. Why are they not our corners? They beat our strikers because they weren't that good. You know, if you looked at our weak spot on our defense, I thought it was the striker position because teams would constantly line up fast slot receivers on our striker, and it would be an advantage towards them. Sometimes we got away with it. Sometimes we got beat deep. But even Manny Diaz and Coach Blake Baker discussed that last season. Gilbert Frierson, I think it is our best striker. Some people think Keontre Smith can come in. I love Keontre Smith. I've got to see him. I got to see his coverage skills because I don't know if he could cover as good as a Gilbert Frierson is. But yeah, man, as I'm going through this class, these are some talented cats, man. We hit Will Mallory, 4-star tight end out of Jacksonville. Will Mallory, he shows flashes. A lot of people say, and I'm judging these guys off of what we say, and me being included, that we have the best tight end room in the nation. We are tight end you. I think Will Mallory has to live up to that, especially if something is to happen to Brevin Jordan. It's going to be intriguing to see how Rhett Lashley utilizes Brevin Jordan and Will Mallory. Will we see Brevin in the slot, Mallory on the line? Will they just be switching? Everything's intriguing when you have a De'Aaron King and a Rhett Lashley. Cleveland Reed, that goes in line with what I said about the offensive line. We need it. And we need you, Cleveland. And that goes to the whole offensive line. We really need a starting five to stay healthy. You know, we got Jalen Rivers to help out this year. And I'll be the one to admit, I'm not the best evaluator of the offensive line, but man, Cleveland Reed, in this 2018 class, we need you. DJ Ivey, okay. DJ Ivey. I like DJ Ivey. I think when people started to say he's the next Mike Rump, That is when we had a problem, okay? Because Mike Rump, first round draft pick, Miami great. I think that's when we have the problem. DJ Ivey, to me, is the best physical specimen, I believe, in that cornerback room. I think he could be the best. He had a couple bad spots last year. Had a couple bad spots, a couple good spots. You know, I think he had back-to-back interceptions, back-to-back games with interceptions, if I'm not correct. But then you look at the moments of him getting suspended for the Florida game, the fake punt into Georgia Tech, the end of the half play against Virginia. Those are just some of the things that pop out. I think this is a guy who can physically beast wide receivers. I think this is a guy that should be solidified. DJ Ivey and Al Blades. Put up or shut up, guys. This should be your corner spots. Dee Wiggins. I'll tell you right now, 3-star Dee Wiggins. I underestimated Dee Wiggins. I remember last year they told me Dee Wiggins, he was one of the fastest guys because they had the system 20 miles per hour. And I was like, what? And then when you look at like the Louisville game, the Florida State game, you saw that. But I'm going to sound really general when I say this. This is to the receivers. This is to the receivers, but most definitely Dee Wiggins and Mark Pope. We need consistency. We need consistency, and I kind of blame Amari Rodgers because Amari was that dude, and I'm trying to think. He was the last consistent wide receiver we had, and I feel like we kind of look at the receivers down to that level because Amari was so good. Jeff Thomas was great, but he had a couple off the field issues with disappearing games. One of my favorite players, but it is what it is. Dee Wiggins has shown the flashes, and he's another guy. He's been working. I'll follow him on Instagram. They show him working out, and I love that, man. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just workout videos for the gram. Hey, I'd rather see it than not see it. That's just my... So Dee Wiggins, wide receiver core, you've got to step up. John Campbell, 3-star. Same thing with the offensive line. Now, guys, we're just now getting to... Now, I went from the highest ranked player all the way down to the lowest. Obviously, I talked about the players... Obviously, I talked about the players that left first, but Gregory Rousseau. Gregory Rousseau. Man, amazing what this cat has done, and I can sit here and talk about his skill set, what he's able to do with his strength, how strong he is, how long he is, how he still has a lot to improve on. Think about his production, but he still has to play with better pad level, develop a second or third move. This kid the sacks that he got last year was straight off of just manhandling people in effort. Because I really thought Gregory Rousseau was one of the most hard work, was one of the most best effort guys out there. Not saying he wasn't talented, because I seen this guy put his hand into some tackles and drive them out of the screen, and with his other hand sling down the quarterback. But what I'm saying is his effort was off the charts. I think of a play that pops in my head versus Virginia when Virginia quarterback Perkins is dodging. He's dodging people. And maybe Rousseau misses him the first time. A couple other guys misses him. And then, bam, Rousseau comes back. Knocks the ball loose, makes a hell of a play. Another thing that I was impressed with Gregory Rousseau is on the run, for the love of all things holy. At times, teams would put a tight end on this man, and it was easy breezy for Gregory Rousseau, just an overpowered tight end. And he did that with some tackles too. He showed his versatility. Don't really want to see him down the field guarding people, but we're expecting a lot of Gregory Rousseau. I'll ask you this, guys. Will he hit that second year slump? Because I got to keep it 100. Every time a player has a great year, the thing is, I always wonder is, now he's noticed. Now they have a full year of him on film. Wow, looking at Gregory Rousseau, he was ranked as the 485th prospect in the nation. You know, we know he played several different positions in high school. Patrick Joyner up next. I wonder what will happen with Patrick Joyner. Came in as a defensive end, moved to linebacker, dealt with injuries. Man, I really hate to say this, but if there was somebody, because I was talking to some guys about possible transfers, I don't have any inside scoop, but usually when you see a player come in at one position, try another position, then he gets injured, going through a lot of stuff. Patrick Joyner, who a guy in the spring last year who I thought looked comfortable at the linebacker position, but we'll see. The linebacker position has a lot of unproven guys, so will he be a guy that sticks with the program and puts up or shut up, or will he end up in the portal? That's a guy that I'm really looking out for too. Jordan Miller got the Feely effect, definitely showed flashes last year. Man, he wasn't even ranked nationally, or he wasn't in the tops. I think that says he wasn't even in the tops. It has NA third, a 3-star, and he was the last player in that 2018 class that's still with the class. So that was all my thoughts on all the players from the 2018 class. My bottom line is, when you look at that class, top 10 class, 23 commits. They lost some talent, but they still have a lot of great talent. Some talent that we didn't even know what we had. Nobody could tell me that Gregory Rousseau was going to do what he did last year. Nobody. So it's put up or shut up time. That's the bottom line. At the end of the year, if you tell me at the end of the year, Miami has a great season, if you tell me what has happened, I'll say, one, people saw what happens when Miami has a great quarterback like De'Aaron King, and I'll say, two, the Storm 18 guys, they put up. They did what they had to, and they put in the work.